Doesn't Herman have more championships?
Does he?
I don't know.
That's a really good question. I don't know for sure.
We'll look it up.
I bet Jerry would have it.
Yeah.
We're going to figure it out a little bit later. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Late Hit, Round 2. I'm Matt Foster, alongside Chad Simpson, Robert Haberman. We call him Habe. We discussed that last time. It's been a little bit since we have seen you all, since you have seen us. I'm sure you've watched our video 100 times. I know he has. So thanks again for the support that you've given us as we're just starting this thing out. We're going to hop right to it. College basketball. Coming into a big time of the year, March Madness right around the corner. It's been a crazy year for college ball, guys.
It has. Yeah, real crazy.
It's been nuts. I know since you guys have tuned in last, it's been just shy of a week. 9 upsets in the top 25 alone. Granted, some of those upsets have been 2 top 25 teams against each other, but nonetheless, 9 top 25 upsets.
Yeah. Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that doesn't happen often. It's depressing. Notre Dame lost last night against, who did they play? Syracuse?
No, they didn't lose. They got spanked.
They got spanked.
They got spanked hard.
You have to say it like that, man. That's rough. I didn't know. I didn't end up staying up to watch the game. I knew they were playing, and I thought it was going to be a great game, but I didn't think it was going to be a shilling.
It was pretty bad.
Now, something that we talked about and something that Luke led us into last week on the show, 2 of our power conferences really in control of the top 25.
Mm-hmm.
Big 10 and the Big 12.
Big 10 has 5 teams in the top 25 right now. Purdue, IU, Michigan State, Maryland, and Iowa. Although Iowa did lose to number 8 Maryland. But they're still ranked number 3 right now. So
Maryland's a tough school. They're shooting lights out at the moment.
They are. They can shoot from everywhere. They're really tough.
Yeah, they're a fun team to watch too.
Yeah. The other team that's kind of taking control of the top 25 is the Big 12 with 6 teams: Kansas, Iowa State, Baylor, Oklahoma, and Oregon.
Kansas, we mentioned they won 11 straight, right?
11 straight Big 12 regular season titles they have won, which is in jeopardy.
I was going to say.
He likes to announce that every time we talk about Kansas City.
Well, it's more relevant now than ever because they're in jeopardy of not getting the 12th in a row.
They are. Oklahoma is sitting at number 1 right
now. That's what
I thought. Although Kansas did beat them in double overtime.
Gosh.
But I'm just saying, beat them double overtime. But
double overtime?
He's always just saying, isn't he?
Yeah.
I've heard that before. From a couple of women I've heard from.
Oh, man. Let's not get into that.
But yeah, those 2 teams are pretty much taking over top 25 right now, and they have a bunch of tournament teams. I mean, all of those teams are really good and tough. Even Michigan State, they just wailed on Northwestern, kind of like IU did, and Northwestern's really not bad, but they've gotten beat down by IU and Michigan State now. So,
speaking of the tournament, everyone loves a Cinderella story. I've got a stat of the day, if you guys are ready for it.
I'm ready.
It's gonna blow your pants off. Let me just tell you that right now. Here's the stat of the day, folks. What Indiana team?
It's trivia.
It's trivia.
Oh.
Yeah, it's trivia mixed in with a little stat of the day. It's a little fun. I like to have.
Go.
What Indiana team houses the rebounding leader in the nation?
This year?
This year. Dude, right now, at this very second.
Stop looking it up.
Don't look
I'm not looking it up.
And he's on his phone right now.
What Indiana team? It's going to blow your socks off.
Valparaiso.
Close. You went good. I may have foreshadowed a little bit with the Cinderella story.
Butler?
Not Butler. One more guess from each of you, and then we're going to go into it.
Vincennes. You said close. It starts with a V.
I mean,
closer in proximity.
Are they smaller?
Oh, they're smaller. They're not as small as Vincennes, though. I'm a alumnus of Vincennes. Didn't graduate. I don't think anybody graduates from there. But here's the stat of the day. The Evansville Purple Aces house the. Yeah, how about that? Were you gonna ever guess that?
Yeah, probably. No. Yeah, that's the next one.
Yeah, probably.
That's the next one. The Evansville Purple Aces lead the nation with his name is, I'm gonna butcher it right now, but it's something from Lithuania, whatever.
Lithuania,
yeah, exactly.
Never heard of him.
Egidius Mokavicius.
No, that's easy to say.
What
Loca
did you
Vicious?
call me?
Loca
like that
Vicious?
name.
I don't
That's a
know.
good name.
He's vicious, though. He's 6'10", weighs 220 pounds. He's a senior.
Just a little guy.
He's just a little fella. He's played 22 games this season, averages 31.8 minutes, 59 offensive rebounds, averages 2.7 offensive rebounds, and here's the kicker. Defensive rebounds this year, he has 254 defensive rebounds, averages 11.5. He has total 313 rebounds and averages in 40 minutes 17.9 rebounds in 40 minutes. His total average this year is 14.2.
So the kid can ball.
He can ball.
He's putting on stats.
He's European.
He's out
Is
there
he
running.
gonna be in the NBA though?
I don't
Does he
know.
have the other tangibles? We don't know anything about this
Yeah, I
guy.
didn't even know the stat.
And yeah, I never heard of him until just now.
Exactly.
It's worth looking into.
Now's the time.
Look into him.
Yeah.
Google him.
Watch his highlights. I'm sure he's a monster. He's a. I mean, you heard the stats. I mean, that's outrageous. He's 6'10" and he's in college.
We just asked everybody to Google him, but we're gonna have to tweet the name since none of us can
Yeah,
speak with our native
I'll
tongue.
tweet the name and the stat.
Lithuanian guy from Indiana.
And man, he's from the Evansville Purple Aces. And that stat of the day is from a good friend, Josh George of the show. He's currently a student at Evansville. He emailed that to us on Twitter, and what a stat of the day! I think that's
pretty sick. I wouldn't have guessed.
No one would have known.
All right, man. Speaking of big men doing big things, Chad has put together a list for our Naismith watch for the year. He's got a lot of good things. He's done a lot of homework. I'm pretty impressed with it, really.
Well, we just added one more to the list, so
Keep an eye. I'm not shooting to the top.
yeah, we might have to put him on the top.
So, Chad, what have you been looking at as far as what do you put into rather when you were putting together a list like your Naismith watch? What do you look for, and what did you find?
It starts with just a great mind. You know, you gotta have a great mind like this. You watch a lot of college basketball. I mean, some of these are names that you're probably gonna know. There's names I left off. I only did the top three. But these are my opinion who the top three are.
Based on what?
Based off of
overall stats?
based off of their stats, based off of how important they are to their team.
College career or college just this year?
Just this year. It's the Naismith for this year. So, top guy on my list just happens to be from the Big 12.
Imagine that.
I would have never guessed.
His name
I'm
is
shy.
Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard of this kid.
Very good looking guy.
Well, if your name's Buddy, you
Not
gotta
really.
be good.
No, he's not.
Oh, really? He's an ugly one.
He's got
He got some big old teeth on
He
him.
does a.
He's
Right,
got the
yeah.
overbite.
Who's it under? I was getting confused.
He is averaging right now 25.5 points a game, 2.5 assists, and 5 rebounds a game. The big thing for him is the 25.5 points a game.
Sure.
I mean, this guy can shoot the lights out. He shoots 50% from three.
Jeez.
What
What position does he play? I wasn't paying attention.
He's shooting guard, small forward, but he's one of the guys in college basketball right now that he shoots all the time. Like, he's kind of like an NBA player, right? He's probably the most NBA-ready player in college basketball.
Does he have the keys to the team, or is he just throwing up shots?
I mean, he's wet, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really good, and so he just kind of, I mean, his play breaks down. He can create his own shot. He's super athletic. He can get to the hoop too, but he'll shoot all day. I think he scored in high 40s against Kansas in that double overtime. He's shooting lights out.
Now I'm going to ask you to do something that I know you aren't ready for.
I'm never ready for anything, but I do it.
You sound like your mom right now. Relax.
Hi, Mom. Whoa.
I'm going to ask you to, of the three guys that you've got highlighted here, for each guy, who do they remind you of most that is in the NBA currently?
That's tough.
So let's start with them.
Think about it. Who are the other two guys? We haven't heard those guys.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go with the other two guys.
Because I like that.
Buddy Hield, I don't know, it's kind of hard. I would probably say a young Ray Allen. Maybe not quite the shooting
High
stroke.
praise. That's high praise in my opinion.
Yeah, it's off the top of my head.
That's okay.
Maybe not quite the shooting stroke, but he can shoot the lights out. And
Sweet
when Ray
stroke,
was
yeah.
young, he could get to the hoop too. Ray could do it all when he was hurt in Milwaukee. So it's kind of he reminds me of number 2 on my list, Denzel Valentine, one of my favorite players to watch.
Perfect
Plays for
name.
Michigan State, 6'5", 220 pounds.
Is he an actor portraying this player, or because he sounds like that?
Yeah.
That name.
Great name. Just great name.
John
Great.
Q, look it up.
Yeah.
Science.
He's averaging 18.5 points a game, 6.5 assists per game, and almost 8 rebounds per game.
And with the theater near you.
This kid is just dominant. I've seen him play, not in person, can't afford it yet.
I'm going to read you what I have for him.
All right, then.
He can do it all. He is, in all caps, elite passer. LeBron-like passing skills. He has unbelievable basketball IQ, great court vision. He sets up his teammates. He is Michigan State's offense. He runs through him. He sets everything up, and he's great at it. He can also shoot the lights out. He's got one of the best shooters in college basketball. But what I love about him, he can create his own shot. Things break down. He can do it any way, too. He's great at it. Who he reminds me of, man, that's tough. I would say a former Michigan State alumni, Green, Golden State. I think he reminds me a lot of him because Draymond, the offense kind of went through him a lot. He averaged a ton of assists. He just created, and that's what kind of Denzel reminds me of. He just creates something.
That's pretty strong.
And then third and final, Ben Simmons, LSU.
Of course.
6'10", 220 pounds. This kid is a freak. 19.5 points a game, 5 assists per game, 12.5 rebounds per game.
Now, I've heard you talk about this kid off the set here, and you've got a crush on this dude.
No,
It's not. I think everybody has a crush on this guy. He is great. He really is.
he's explosive. He has, read this here, he has a 7-inch wingspan and a 41-inch vertical.
7-inch wingspan?
Yes.
7 foot?
7 foot wingspan.
That big, folks.
Never said I was good at reading. He can fly. He's super athletic. He has crazy moves to get to the basket where he can finish with power or finesse. Very good player. Probably would be the number 1 pick in the draft. Who he reminds me of? He's going to throw you off a little bit. Lamar Odom. Young Lamar Odom. Big but skilled as a smaller player.
Well, in all seriousness, I hope he chooses a different path forward. I don't mean the drugs, I mean
no reality shows.
Yeah, exactly. I don't mean the drugs, I mean the Kardashians.
Yeah.
Stay away from that garbage.
I'll take the Kardashians. All 3 of them. Moving on.
All right, we'll start with Caitlin. So, last thing I want to touch because it's just so big right now in college basketball.
Kim Kardashian.
Yep. Badass. You can't overlook what's going on right now. You see Arizona State's curtain of distraction. Michael Phelps.
Hilarious. This is the type of stuff that we need in college basketball.
Exactly. Bring the fun back to it.
I think I texted you the other day about this, and before we started the show, it was about Wisconsin the state of Wisconsin banning cheers in the stands from you can't do that, to boo this man on 3, talk about the ref. That's the type of stuff that kids go to the game for.
Exactly.
It's America. It's America.
By God.
It's a social event. Honestly, though, it's a social event. These guys, a lot of those kids out there are just going to hang out with their buddies, and have a good time. A lot of those kids like basketball too, but this type of stuff, the curtain of distraction, I'm glad that we brought that up because it's hilarious. That's awesome. Yeah.
You see the one, Michael Phelps?
Yeah,
I saw the debate.
So
he started clothed, and then during the shot, he ripped his shirt off. Oh, come on.
I'm watching it at B-Dubs, right? And I'm sitting there looking, and I'm like, man, that guy looks like Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
I've never seen him out of water.
Yeah, right?
I didn't even breathe.
Like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
Michael Phelps.
Turns out it was him.
That's true. You don't recognize guys like that in street clothes. I mean, they look like anybody else.
And then he got naked. We knew exactly what it was.
Exactly. Once we saw him in a Speedo about this big,
And half a dozen medals around his neck.
Yeah.
2 dozen or whatever it was.
You think those were real medals?
No way.
You really brought?
No way.
Would you really bring?
Hell no. No, I wouldn't even do it. And the guys on the Monmouth bench, you see them celebrating all the time, doing all kinds of kooky stuff.
Yeah, we're okay with that, but then Wisconsin wants to go and ban the students.
Airball.
Yeah.
You can't say that.
You can't say that.
Oh.
Come on. And they're talking. It's part of that culture now that everyone's a winner. Everybody gets a participation medal. They're not going to keep score in Little League anymore. I mean, that's we were all raised in a different time.
Yeah.
Even now, we're in our 20s. It's just it's here too.
And it's kind of scary. I was thinking about this today. It's scary to think about how that's going to shape our country moving forward, where people that are kids now will be adults and they will expect something for nothing.
Exactly. I mean,
what is it teaches them?
How are these kids going to get better if they're not told, hey, this isn't winning. You're not winning. You want to be a winner. You know, everyone's going to be.
I think they should stick with sportsmanship and leave it at that.
Yeah.
I mean, the booing and stuff. Sometimes they deserve to be booed. Sometimes that's with sportsmanship.
I agree. No, I agree. I mean, people talk about
You deserve it on the booty.
with the airball thing. People say it's embarrassing, and it should be embarrassing.
Yeah.
If you airball a shot, I'm not sitting here saying that I'm a good basketball player because I'm not. I may be
very wet. I see.
Yes, true. We're talking about hustle. It's not good. Gosh, I may hustle here and there, but that's a different story. But I'm 6'5" on a good day, and I cannot play basketball with crap. But these guys are, and I know I can't play basketball. It should be embarrassing when these guys shoot an air ball. I'm rambling, but that gets me hot.
Yeah, you should definitely. I mean, and that goes into home court advantage too. I mean, that's what happens when you go somewhere and you play in one of these crazy venues. That's part of it. You're gonna get booed. You go to the real Assembly Hall in Illinois.
Don't say that.
When you go to the Assembly Hall there, they actually stand on the court in one part of the court.
Yeah.
And when you take the ball out of bounds there, they're like this.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I love that.
That's part of it, I feel like.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes college basketball great too, is the fans. When you go to those games and it's crazy, that helps the players.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just me.
It helps build momentum, which can alter a game. It can change the course of a game.
We're supposed to have a little advantage of you.
Yeah, I agree. So with that, like I mentioned, we got March Madness coming up. So let's all look forward to that. I'm excited. We're going to do brackets, and we'll post them online when the time comes.
Yeah, we're going to do a lot of
And
brackets.
it's going to be good. I'm going to take all of their money because it won't even be close. Actually, I'm going to predict Chad's going to win that. Because I'm honest.
It's always true. That's just like I won the Pro Bowl fantasy draft.
Oh, okay. Well, that's another discussion for later in the show.
Foreshadow.
We'll see.
Yeah, with that, we're going to move on to the NFL. I was ready for it. You forced my hand, but we're going to do it anyway.
Cool.
Small news, big news, something I want to mention early. Travis Kelce, I don't know if you heard.
Oh, I heard.
He signed a 5-year, $46 million deal with the Chiefs.
Pay the man.
That's not what I thought you were going to say. You know what else he did?
What's that?
He is going to be on a reality television show, a dating show. Travis Kelce, tied in for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's going to be on a dating show with 50 women.
Oh, no.
One woman from each state. I'm sorry. And it'll be, I'm assuming, something like The Bachelor, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
How many people in the locker room do you think are going to have the leftovers there?
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be in a house with him and 50 other women. Wow, that house is going to be.
It's going to be like this. Hey, you don't get a rose today, but here's Alex phone number.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah. Here's our kicker and our punter.
Eric Berry's going to be in there intercepting.
Eric Berry and
all.
Jamal Charles coming off the ground.
He's hurt.
He'll be fine.
He's
For that, he'll put the crutches down. I think I didn't know that, but it does. It leads me to question whether or not he heard about Gronk's party boat. Have you guys heard about the party boat?
Yeah.
I wonder if he's like, well, if he's going to do that, I'm going to date 50 women. Come at me.
Gronk's got to go for me. Not only does he have the party boat, he's got a training. I don't know if you want to call it training camp for single middle-aged women, where he teaches them about football. You can't tell me at the end of that week they're going to be playing shirts and skins. Come on.
I would play shirts and skins.
Yeah. What? I gotta go. Last thing before we move on to Super Bowl talk. Speaking of the Gronkowskis, the Patriots talked to Glenn Gronkowski, the younger brother to Rob Gronkowski. He's a fullback for Kansas State.
Good.
So we'll see what happens there. Maybe they'll put him at the slot or do something crazy.
He's going to be a little later draft pick, but he's probably the best H-back type of style player coming out of college football this year.
I think it'll be good.
One more thing, though, before we move on. You know that the the Rams of St. Louis are now moving to LA.
Yes.
They were in discussions with the Chargers, the Rams, and the Raiders. The Raiders came in last place there. There's rumors of them going to San Antonio with the black and gold of the Spurs. Today, the Raiders ownership was flirting with a Las Vegas billionaire who wants to build a $1 billion indoor arena between UNLV and their airport in Las Vegas. What do you guys think of that?
I heard it today, and I've heard it's already been shut down.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think for obvious reasons, you take a bunch of NFL players, bring a rookie who gets a big cut.
John Manziel's
I was going to say,
John Manziel's going on that team.
It just won't work.
Yeah.
You're begging for trouble.
All right.
We're begging.
Last thing about the LA or the Vegas Raiders, if they change the name, what would their name be?
How can you move away from the Raiders?
That's good.
The haters.
The haters.
What about
Haters, potatoes, and now in latest Raiders? I don't know.
All right. Well, that's it for me.
All right, we're going to give Derek Galbraith a call, friend of ours, friend of the show. He's going to break down some X's and O's. Hopefully, we got some questions about what he saw, AFC and NFC championships, and what that might mean moving forward.
Bring it on.
I'd like to. So let's see what kind of connection we get in here in the late hit zone.
He's a huge Packers fan, by the way. Huge.
Yeah.
One of the biggest I know. Probably the biggest I know.
But he's respectful about it. He's not in your face.
Very unbiased.
Hello.
Hello, Kitty.
How's it going, fellas?
Mr. Galbraith, good to hear from you. You are live on the late hit. Thanks for joining us here with Chad and Habe. Always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Did you get the wife in safely?
Yeah, she's good. She's passed out though.
She would be.
You dirty dog.
From drugs, not sleep.
Oh, yeah. All right, my
Hello,
man.
Steph.
She doesn't like sports anyway. This is fine.
Yeah.
By the way, we went in and messed up all your decorations while you were in Virginia. So, Derek, what we were just talking about, you and I watched the AFC and NFC championship games together. We could start with the AFC. What did you see there that might have a little bit of meaning moving forward?
The defense is nasty for the Broncos. I mean, it's so good. Every level of that defense is awesome. The D-line, the pass rushers are great. Linebackers are fantastic. Safeties, I mean, they're a little banged up now, but I believe I did see they said they were going to play. So Darian Stewart and T.J. Ward.
Yeah.
And then Chris Harris and Aqib Talib, studs as well. So, I mean, everywhere you look on that defense, and there's so much depth too. So it's as far as pass rushers go, it's not just Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware. It's Shaq Barrett. He's nice. Derek Wolf's really good player. Malik Jackson. So I mean,
You know, Derek, I think that Chad might actually say it's a good defense, full of names.
Yeah.
so it is. Yeah.
Thank you, Derek.
Well,
Thank you.
But see, the problem with I don't know, man. I don't love their offense. I don't. I mean, their offense, Peyton looked really good first quarter. I believe they only had, 70 yards the last three quarters against the Patriots. So, I mean, and they're going to go against, a tougher defense than the Panthers. Certainly more healthy than the Patriots defense was anyway in the Super Bowl. So, I don't know. They're going to have the best game of the year in order for them to win as far as the Broncos go. NFC Panthers, I don't know where to start with it, man. I'm actually more impressed with their offense, honestly, more than their defense. Their defense is good. I mean, don't get me wrong, but just offensively, that offensive line is great. They played fantastic. I mean, I was kind of down on them, actually, the whole team for, I don't know, the first half of the season, but just watching them, each week, as the season, progressed, it's just, they're unbelievable. And I'm everywhere. They're good. Special teams are really good. Offense, like I just said, I'm more impressed with than they are defensively. And then defensively, it's nothing to sneeze at as well. So, I mean,
Bless you.
that was my only issue with them is defensively, they're secondary. I mean, Josh Norman's awesome, but I mean, Cortland Finnegan and playing at the nickel. He's a problem, man.
I think he's reckless, Derek.
No, he is. Yeah, he could get away with that when he was younger, but he's not young anymore. So that's kind of the way I see that.
Kind of back to the offense of the Broncos. Really, the only difference, aside from, a new coach, Eric Decker's really the only missing piece from last year's offense that was one of the best in the league, arguably. What is the other thing, do you think? What other missing pieces do they have in their offense? Is it Peyton Manning's play? Is it Peyton Manning's absence? I know the offensive line is sketchy at times. What's going on there?
Well, I mean, it's a combination. It's a collective effort. As far as the ineptitude of their offense, goes. You're right. Yeah, with Eric Decker there, it would be nice. But they have nice receivers.
They can't catch the ball though.
That's what I was about to say. That they have struggled with drops, including remember they traded for Vernon Davis halfway through the year.
Where's he been?
He's awful. He's dead.
Yeah, I know. He left his hands in San Francisco. I'll tell you, that's what happened right now. And then also, offensive line. They've been bad as well. So I mean, like you said, Habe, and I don't want to put it all on Peyton because it certainly isn't at all.
No.
I mean, he needs to play better, but the entire team, the entire offense needs to play better because right now that defense has carried them literally this entire way. They've had, I think, one game. I don't even believe they've had one game that scored 30 points this year, and they're going to the Super Bowl, which just is baffling that they're even going to the Super Bowl. Honestly, their offense.
Midway through the season, with the injury of Peyton Manning, they played Brock Osweiler. Would the Denver Broncos be in the same place if Osweiler stays in and plays the rest of the season? He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything different than Peyton, except for maybe from the shoulders up, he's a little different than Peyton, obviously. But.
No, you're absolutely right. It's hard to say that they would be in the same spot. I mean, because it's like you said, he wasn't playing bad, but I think there was a stretch of like 3 games, against the Chargers, Raiders, and the Steelers where they didn't score a point in the second half. So
right. They did beat the Patriots in overtime though. That gave them their first loss.
Yeah, he was really good. He made some big throws in the fourth quarter and in overtime.
Mistake me if I'm wrong. Was that Osweiler's first game? His first start?
No. His first start, I believe, was against the Bears just a few weeks prior to that.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right.
So it's. I don't really blame Kubiak for going back to Peyton. It's maybe he saw, but he'd rather go down playing Peyton than Osweiler because at least if you lose with Peyton, you're like, well, we went out with I understand he's not playing well this year. He went out with one of the best quarterbacks of all time. So
Derek,
I don't know if they'd be where they are. To answer your question.
Sure.
Derek, one of the biggest stories and possibly a controversy, if you want to call it, heading into the Super Bowl. A lot of hate coming down on Cam Newton right now. It's spun 100 different ways. Who's right, who's wrong? I don't think there is a right or a wrong. I think he's just a happy guy playing football and having a lot of fun. What do you think about the hate coming down on Cam right now?
You know what? Chad's harped on me about this a few times, and it's not that I never liked him. It's not that I didn't like him. What I think it is, some of it I'm sure is, a little bit, raised, but
you can say it. It's okay. It's part of the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But not, not a ton. I think the majority of it is,
Do you think it's more culture than it is race?
Well, I think so. A little bit, and those kind of go hand in hand. So I
agree.
It's how many franchise quarterbacks do you see? And it doesn't bother me. That's not what it is. I've mentioned it a few times that it kind of maybe toned down the 15-second celebrations, but
maybe just do a discount double check and call it a day.
You could, yeah. You could just do that. But, I mean, you know what? They do get in the end zone a lot. So, but, yeah, as far as the hate, and I don't want to say I hate him, because I don't, because I actually don't mind it. It's good for him, you know, as far as how much he's grown as a quarterback, you know.
Sure.
And as a player and all that. But I think, you know, looking back at his first 4 years as a starter, you know, he was okay. He wasn't, you know, anything that, you know, great. He had his moments, you know, and he had some bad moments too. So.
Do you think his coaches played him conservatively?
No, I don't think so. It's just I think everything just clicked this year. You know,
Sure.
You know, as far as talent accumulation, you know, health of the team, first of all, as well, outside, you know, Benjamin. But I just think people came into the season saying, you know, with that mindset of, oh, he's an okay quarterback, but, you know, you don't see anything special from him. And then he's been great the second half of the season. So I think people are more frustrated with that they have more or less been proven wrong. You know, in their feelings of, you know, how he was as a quarterback, you know, playing. I mean, maybe that's why, you know, there's so much, you know, backlash as far as Cam Newton goes.
Derek, we're going to get to Super Bowl predictions next week. We're going to have a full show dedicated to the Super Bowl. It's going to be a Super Bowl special. We'd love to have you on at that point. Also, if we could take another phone call from you then, or maybe you come on the show and we could see that beautiful full head of hair of yours. But before we let you go today, Chad's got a couple things he wants to chat with you about in regards to Aaron Rodgers, who is your man. We thought we'd entice you with a little bit of conversation about the big guy.
I'm always up for it. Let's do it.
What's up, Derek? How are you?
What's up, Chad? Good.
Good. Okay, so I'm going to read you something here. Me and Habe were talking about a little bit before the show. Something I don't think gets brought up enough. Let me read you these stats here. Aaron Rodgers' career passer rating is 106.2, which is the best ever in 11 seasons. Peyton's is second at 97.8. Rodgers' career passing rating would be ranked 25th all time in single season passing ratings. So his combined career passer rating would be 25th all time in just single seasons, which is insane, I think. I think his worst one ever is like 94. And speaking of best single season record, 2011, Aaron Rodgers hit 122.5, which is the best all time in a single season. What I think is really crazy that a lot of people probably don't know is Aaron leads Manning, Brady, and Joe Montana in the postseason stats for passer rating,
It's good company.
completion percentage, interception percentage, and TDs per game. And I just want to add on the end there, out of all of those stats, Brady loses in all areas.
I'm sorry, what was that last part?
Brady loses in all areas.
I'll be darned.
Well, how about that?
Now my question to you, is Aaron Rodgers right now the best ever?
Best ever? No, I don't want to say that. I mean, I don't want to say that. I'd probably go with Tom Brady. The best that I've ever seen.
Stats don't lie, Derek. Stats do not lie.
No, yeah, you're right. But, you know, but you do have to have a little bit more postseason success. Not that he hasn't. You know, he has been good in the playoffs, save for, you know, a few games. But other than that, I don't want to say that he's the best ever at all. I don't think he's better than Peyton has been, because you see these careers, you know, of Peyton and Tom, where they pretty much won the division in consecutive years. You know, not necessarily, but, you know, pretty much, you know. So I'd like to see a few more years of this before I can say that. Also, maybe a couple more MVPs, you know, because Peyton had 5, something like that. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to put Aaron Rodgers over Tom Brady or Peyton Manning at this point. I mean, he's well on the way. I think he gets knocked. See, people judge, records of teams, and especially the postseason records, and that's what they use to, determine whether a quarterback is great.
And I
average.
I don't believe in that, and that's why all these stats are personal stats.
Yeah, I know it's not. I don't believe in it either because it's so unbelievably dumb. Just to say, how many rings he's got. It makes no sense. Just watch the games. Make it, judge it for yourself.
Yeah.
So, but to answer your question, no, I don't think he's the best of all time. I'd probably put him behind Brett Favre right now. Although that's kind of tough for me.
Ooh, the Favre.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's coming back.
Is he Italian?
He's coming back.
For the Vikings.
It might be. Favre.
Derek, thanks for letting us take up some of your time. We'll let you get back to your wife as she is freshly into town. Feel free to call in anytime, man. As always, I appreciate your football insight, and I look up to you on a daily basis, buddy. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, Derek. Thanks, Derek. See you, buddy.
Take it easy, fellas.
Ladies on the Minjay.
Bye.
Thought I hung up. Where is he? There he is.
Favre, huh? Interesting. How do you think about them stats?
I can't argue about
That's
those
pretty
stats.
crazy
That's
stats.
good stuff.
Especially those postseason stats.
He recorded the.
I thought Tom
highest-
Brady's the king postseason.
I don't think that. I don't think that at all. I think Tom Brady had a lot of help from a lot of other people. Yeah, I think I give him. He has how many? 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
Tom Brady,
four.
four Super Bowls. I think that. I think only 2 of those were because of him, if that. I mean, we know one was definitely out of Terry. There's another one that's arguably all defense. So you got 2 more after that. I'll give him the one when they were 18-1. I know they lost that one to
Yeah, they lost the Giants.
the Giants.
Catch.
So even then, yeah,
The catch.
I don't know. Tom Brady's good. I'm not saying he's not. Aaron Rodgers is good, even though he's a Packer.
We can talk about that all day.
Yeah, we can. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's get into some
other
some
stuff.
Pro Bowl talk. The Pro Bowl is a really cool thing for a couple of reasons. I don't even know if I'd say that. Something about the Pro Bowl that I love and hate. I love that it's every football fan's dream. You see the best football players in the world playing together.
Best athletes in the world.
Best athletes
Yeah,
in the
I think
world.
so.
Sans Usain Bolt and Michael Phelps, maybe. He's still ripped, by the way.
Yeah,
I don't know what he does. Doing great.
Smoking weed.
Mm-hmm. So you have all the best, and everybody loves to see that. I always love seeing Peyton Manning throwing touchdowns to Donald Driver, or whatever you want to do.
But there's another side of that people hate.
Exactly.
I'm one of those people. They do not play. They don't come out. They come out there for a vacation. They don't play to win. They don't play. And I don't expect them to play 100%. They don't play 90%. And half the time, except for maybe J.J. Watt, they don't play 85 or 80%. They're out there for the scenery. They're out there because they got the award. A lot of them don't even go anymore, especially the veterans. It's just for the young guys, I think.
Do you know who did play 100% when he was at the Pro Bowl?
I know who played 100%.
Sean Taylor. Didn't give a shit.
Yeah, that's right.
If you were a punter or not.
Greatest all time.
It's Chet's favorite player, I think. So we did something kind of kooky. Habe had this idea a couple nights ago and was texting both of us about it. We're going to take the rosters of both sides of the ball, and we're going to have a little fantasy draft. So we went ahead and did that, and we'll go ahead and tweet. We have all of our teams here. We'll go ahead and tweet those out a little bit later so you can see who's got who and what's going on. It's really kind of a strange idea, but I think it'll be pretty cool.
We set it up pretty much just like a regular fantasy team on ESPN would or anything like that. We did 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a flex position, a tight end, and then here's where we got kind of confusing was how to manage the defense. We just took 5 defensive players of any position, really, mainly skill players that are going to get heavy tackles, sacks, interceptions. We're going to determine a point system once we're later in the week, and that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not going to be anything. We're just going to have a little fun with it, something to keep us busy, something to talk about, because a lot of people don't talk about the Pro Bowl. As much as we love part of it, there's an equal amount of people that hate a lot of it.
Yeah.
They don't care. Unless they have money on it, they don't want to watch it. You know, I've always you're betting on the Pro Bowl. You got
You
got some problems.
You should see somebody. Seriously, get some help.
You want to list off the teams here, or we want to?
Well, one thing I want to talk about, maybe talk about the first couple picks. You talk about not trying in the Pro Bowl, and probably the side that doesn't try the most is defense yet. J.J. Watt goes off the board first for you. I was a little confused.
You were a little confused? Well, let me just tell you, he's the only one that's sacking quarterbacks. Well, I don't care. He knows his quarterback's not going to be playing, so that's one
He
thing.
could play some offense too.
He could. There you go.
I didn't think of that.
See, you just sold it for me. There
I
you go.
just killed my
I mean,
side of
yeah,
the
you just killed your argument.
Moving
I'll
on,
take that.
moving on.
Yeah.
News, you took a defensive player first too, didn't you?
My number one pick? No, I don't think so. I took Todd Gurley.
Oh, yeah.
Number one.
Really?
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. I took Julio Jones number one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you did.
You took defense pretty early though. I didn't take defense so I had my whole offense.
I went Richard Sherman in the third round. See, I got kind of screwed though. We did a snake draft with 3 people. I was in the middle. So these 2 guys were getting back-to-back picks every time.
He can complain all he wants, but I'm going to stroke his ego a little bit because in the 13th and final round, he drafted Jarvis Landry. Juice! Talk about sleeper. That was he was knocked out. That was a sleeper pick for the ages.
I was gonna take him in I don't remember what pick it was, but I took Amari Cooper instead.
Speaking of Amari Cooper, to kind of shift things over, with the Pro Bowl comes the end of the year with all the voting on Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, and of course the MVP, which I think is locked up regardless of off the field conversation
Obviously.
Yeah, well,
Andrew Luck.
sure. We'll see.
Love you.
But with the Rookie of the Year nominees, we got Amari Cooper, which is a stud. He led all rookies with 72 receptions, 1,070 yards, which are both franchise records for the Raiders. He had 5 games with at least 100 rushing yards, or receiving yards. I'm sorry, and became the first rookie with 3 100 receiving games in his first 6 games since who? Pro Bowler Mike Ditka.
Wow.
In 1961. That's
Way back.
That's so far back.
Let's take it back.
And Todd Gurley is also there.
My man.
He ranked 3rd of all rookies, behind AP all day and the muscle hamster. That's Doug Martin, if you don't know.
That's Doug.
Tyler Lockett.
I'll be a Doug.
Tyler Lockett at receiver and returner. Marcus Peters of the Kansas City Chiefs.
There's a
quarterback.
right there.
He is a killer. And famous Jameis Winston for the Tampa Bay Buccaroos.
I mean, it's pretty obvious. Todd Gurley, I think by a landslide.
Yeah,
I mean,
you have
maybe
to.
Amari Cooper. I think
That surprises me. I think Todd Gurley is great. Don't get me wrong, and he surprised everybody coming off an injury. But Amari Cooper, Amari
did play the whole season.
He played the whole season. I agree, and
I think that goes into maybe he should get a few more votes because he did play the whole season.
Sure, I think, and this may be bias for me. I'm a Vikings fan through and through. He showed streaks of Chris Carter in him. I think he overpowers his defenders every play. Doesn't matter who it is, and he's in the AFC, a passing heavy conference.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Derek Carr there, and I think they're going to be a dynamic duo here in the next 5 years. They'll be in the Super Bowl, in my opinion. They have a lot of work to do, but I think in the next 5 years they might be playing
Good pieces on defense too.
Yeah.
Guys, of
Will Mack on defense.
Of those 2 guys that we talked about, Amari Cooper, Todd Gurley, who did more for their team individually?
I think you have to go with Gurley
You gotta go with Gurley
because
the Rams are just-
I mean,
Not very good. They don't have a quarterback.
the Raiders are a lot better.
Yeah, they're just a better overall team. I think when it comes to the 3 phases of the game, offense, special teams, and defense, Amari Cooper is there and he's holding his team up pretty nicely, but Todd Gurley is a staple. A staple in the offense there. And it's,
Automatically.
I think
He's pretty rare.
it's hard for me to say this, but he does show also flashes. And I'm always going to use the Vikings because I think they have the second best receiver of all time, and Adrian Peterson is going to go down as the best receiver of all time. But he reminds me a lot of AP too.
I totally agree with that comparison. He's big, he's fast, he's explosive.
He's not only fast and explosive, and I think there's a difference between fast and quick. He is quick. He has that sidestep and speed, and he doesn't mind taking one step and busting up the field.
And good vision,
He doesn't
good
dance.
cutback vision.
Yeah. He doesn't dance around the field, and that just drives me nuts. I think that, it's a good argument between Amari Cooper and Todd Gurley. But with the MVP candidates for the NFL, I think it's pretty locked up. Cam. I think Cam's got to take it.
Done and done.
Yeah,
How can he not? I mean, it's a quarterback award. We all know that. But we got Cam Newton, Carson Palmer, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, and throwing in Antonio Brown. I think he's a transcending player. He makes the rest at receiver. He makes the rest of the offense good. I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
A stat for him: no receiver has won the award dating back to 1957. Brown, in my opinion, is the best route runner in the league.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sure hands.
Oh, guaranteed.
Absolutely.
And he was the most productive wide receiver, I think, since Marvin Harrison. I really do think, and with his quarterback, it helps a lot. But without Antonio Brown, they're just not the same team, I don't think.
Yeah, it's got to go to Cam. There is no argument strong. You couldn't say enough about any of those players combined. You could put all their stats together.
Sure.
And I'm still not getting off Cam right now.
Cam leads the NFL in total touchdowns with 41, combining more than 4,000 passing yards and rushing yards.
That's crazy.
Come on. Newton gets his offense into the right plays and reads defenses and reads his progressions. He's evolved, as we talked with Derek, he's evolved in the last 4 or 5 years like nobody else has. I think he's got it locked up.
Well, we're not the only ones who think that. He's got a new friend in the professional sports world, Mr. Steph Curry. Have you seen that on social media and on ESPN? Those two guys are tight now. Steph Curry's a big fan. In fact, he went so bold as to say the Warriors will beat the Thunder, which that'll be a hell of a game to watch. The Warriors will beat the Thunder on February 6th, and then he will watch the Panthers win the Super Bowl the very next day.
Wow, that's
So
bold.
something, and you know what? I tend to believe everything Steph Curry says right now.
Okay, I believe that, but because the Warriors are just out of this world right now. But let me ask you a question: why is it okay? LeBron gets all these complaints about not winning a championship sooner with Cleveland, yada yada yada. Why do the Thunder get a pass with Kevin Durant and Westbrook for not winning a championship?
I think it's because either one of those guys could be injured at any moment. Kevin Durant especially has been injured or riddled with injuries. His career has, and so I think he gets a pass based on that.
I think that's part of it. They did get close, almost won, ran into LeBron.
Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Very true, but I think you got to put that into perspective. They don't get a pass with me.
Sure.
I saw something on ESPN that had talking about the LeBron, Larry Bird, who's better, who's the best small forward ever, and they had Kevin Durant in the top 5, and I was like,
now, you know how I am about mixing active players with retired players.
Yeah.
That's
I think injuries just played a part in it. I think, and you could say that they have tons of chemistry because they play together. But remember all the talk about not having chemistry because Westbrook's a ball hog.
Yeah.
Durant wasn't shooting enough.
wasn't one of them going to leave? That whole thing.
Yeah, they talked about that.
What about them being in the West? You got the Spurs in the city. Warriors.
I also think the Thunder have lacked big men. I know they've had Ibaka, who's a good player, but when they were making their title run a few years ago, they had Perkins at center.
Hard.
I've never liked Perkins. I never thought he was good. I never enjoyed to watch him. I thought he was an old man that wasn't good in any aspect.
Yeah.
Maybe rebounding. You can't jump off the floor. I'm pretty sure that's a fact. You can't jump off the floor. I think that was part of it too. Is didn't have all the surrounding pieces, and then you let James Harden go. I think they got worse after that.
How long do you think it's going to be before somebody says, "Hey, where's your championship, Kev? You're going to get out of this discussion." Just like Peyton Manning in the NFL. Those championships. It's all about championships. As much as I hate it, it is. How long do you think it's going to be before somebody's pushing him off to the side and like, yeah, okay, we're done with him.
Shit or get off the pot.
Exactly.
That's what. That's
I
what
think
it
you
comes
have to at least win one to be in the discussion. Like I think we were talking about Karl Malone never won one,
Yeah.
but he's
Charles.
that's why he's not in the top 2 or 3, maybe 5. I don't think you can get put in there if you don't at least have one. I think when you get one, and that's when they say more come after you win your first one.
Yeah, that's true. It's hard to get back there. A lot of parity in the NBA, I think, especially right now.
Yeah. All sports are going kind of crazy right now with drama. If we stick in the West, none more so than for the LA Clippers. It's on every channel. You can't escape it. So let's just dive into it. Blake Griffin punched a man a foot shorter than him twice
In the face.
in the face.
Yeah, he injured his
Right in the
right
kisser.
ear. Yeah.
Bang!
Pow! I think the worst part about this, sure, it's they were friends. Blake Griffin and this equipment manager, they were friends off the court. They were at dinner with DeAndre Jordan, the other assistant equipment manager, and this guy, what's his name, Matthias Testi, and they were at dinner, and he punched him in the mouth over some dumb argument. I'm sure it could have been about anything, probably about Blake Griffin being soft on the court or flopping.
Probably about his red hair.
Yeah.
So I'd argue with him about it.
He punched him. Wasn't he about to come back after this road trip to Toronto?
Yeah, he's dealing with a quad injury that was supposed to be pretty short-lived, but he just, from what I'm hearing with his broken hand,
He's going to be out for
another
over
6
a month.
weeks.
Oh yeah, at least. That's terrible. And I mean, especially in basketball, punching a guy in the face, you got your hands. That's where your art comes from. He dunks. That's his thing, and it's kind of ridiculous.
Honestly, I'm kind of on the side where if someone gets punched in the face, maybe you got to punch him in the face sometimes.
You're right. Maybe he deserved it. Maybe he was talking too much crap.
I mean,
Griffin went in
I
for
get it. You have to
seconds.
think about your body. You got to think about your hands.
Yeah.
You got to be smart. You get paid tons of money. Don't take advantage of that. But
He's an equipment manager, Chad.
I mean,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
maybe he needed a beat down.
Here's
Maybe Blake Griffin was doing a favor for
Maybe
everybody.
he shows him a beat down by showing his paycheck. Get that guy out of there. Come
Maybe
on.
he should have smacked you.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That
That
brings
brings-
you more.
You guys both know old Marshall Denny. We all
Yeah.
love and respect Marshall Denny.
Yeah.
And I think you should have taken the Marshall Denny approach. First of all, consider the dude is a foot taller than you. Okay? So don't you
Do we
think
know his stats?
he's 5'10"? The guy's 5'10".
5'10"?
I've been here for the last 7 days. Don't you think if a man a foot taller than you smacked you right in the mouth, not to hurt you, it would get your attention? Am I right?
Sure.
That would alter your course of action moving forward. You don't need to go slug it on that dude.
Yeah.
And if you hit him once, you hit him once. But he takes him outside and hits him
Yeah,
again.
he takes him outside. He wants seconds. That's what got me.
That's the problem.
Aside from being injured, what's going to happen when he's reinstated? He's going to be suspended. I mean, if this were anywhere else, if you and Marshall were at work and one of you punched the other, you don't think you're going to be fired or taken away, suspended without pay? What's going to happen there? Now there's talks about trades possibly. Yeah, he's going to be suspended. I think he's going to sit. It's bad enough that he's hurting himself. He's going to sit more. Are the Clippers going to want this for their organization?
If he doesn't break his hand, it doesn't make big news.
Yeah.
But now there's no way to hide it.
I don't know. Oh yeah, you're right. If he doesn't, because he was already injured. So you're right.
So here's what I think. I think trade him. Jalen Rose, I know you're listening. You don't like that move. You think I'm a bonehead for even saying it. I heard you say it yesterday.
Here's this to support that. The Clippers are 11-3 without Griffin.
Yeah.
Is he valuable enough to that team anymore?
I think moving forward, for a guy like Griffin, you've already got DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah.
That guy's a stud.
The Clippers are full of talent. I mean,
He's 6'11".
and I'm not just saying this because of this argument. I'm not big on the NBA, in case you hadn't noticed. But if I had to pick my favorite team, it would be the Clippers. I like their talent. I love Doc Rivers. I liked the Celtics when he coached the Celtics, and I moved along with him in the Clippers because I thought they were going to be huge. And I was a fan of Blake Griffin until some of this. This kind of just ticked me off. But could the Clippers be traded? Do you think they'll trade him? Maybe for Love? There's talks in Cleveland about trading with Love.
I don't think he'd go to Cleveland. In fact, I don't think he ain't a guy like.
But will they dump Griffin and bring in Love? Not trading with Cleveland necessarily.
I don't think so. They'd have to get a little more for it for a player of Blake Griffin's caliber. He's an all-star. So here's what I would think. I did a little research. I think that they look at a team like the Phoenix Suns. They are struggling. They are way below 500, and they've got a young guy, your man from where?
Rock Chop.
There he is, Markieff Morris,
And he's got a twin.
and he's got to get them both. Markieff. Markieff plays for Phoenix now. 6'10", similar stature. I think he's more aggressive, and he doesn't have that thin-skinned nature that Blake Griffin has. You've already got the Andre Jordan helping you out the rim. Get a guy like Markieff. Also, Blake Griffin's already had 3 knee surgeries. His joints aren't going to get any better moving forward. It's time to go. I think it's time to trade him.
Do like the Marcus and Markieff. Marcus Pistons.
Did they play together in college?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Brothers from the same school. We got the Zellers, the Plumleys,
And twins.
Pistons could be a good option. Pair him up with Drummond.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe you can teach him how to throw a free throw.
here's my thing. If you want to shop him around, shop him around. If you don't think he's good for your organization, shop him around. But also, I'm not giving up Blake Griffin, which, I mean, you got to remember how he played the playoffs last year. He really came into his own last year.
I agree, but in terms of a business decision, is this good for LA's,
I mean, business, to me, is winning.
Sure. They're in the business to win championships.
And he's 6 years, he's averaged 21.5 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 4 assists per game.
All right.
Over 6 years, his stats are up a little bit this year.
Sure.
He's having a good year.
But he's injured. I mean, this is taken away from
he
that
is
game.
injury prone, but it's also 2016 NBA and all sports. Everybody gets injured. I will give you that. He does get a little bit more injured. Is DeAndre as good as Blake? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. Not scoring wise.
Lots more shots.
Okay, but not.
He gets more rebounds.
He's a defensive player, though. He can play a little offense. He's gotten a lot better these last couple of years, but I think he's a really good player, an important player to that team where he's a rim protector. But can he score as good as Blake? No. He can't shoot.
But Blake can't defend as well as he can.
No.
It's give and take on both sides of the ball. I think DeAndre Jordan has ever been as good as Blake Griffin. He's just not as good a scorer.
I can't say that. Scoring is a big part.
Yeah.
I think he is definitely.
Defense wins championships.
It is, but I think when you have a Blake Griffin at power forward, then you have a
In the
DeAndre
NBA,
at center.
In the NBA, does defense win championships?
Yes.
I'm honestly asking.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a big defense
Look at the
or
Spurs.
NBA guy.
Yeah, definitely. But
Okay. I can. Okay. I'll shut up.
but
Shut up. I'll shut up and listen.
but what I'm saying is, I agree with what you're saying, but you have a guy next to Blake that's a rim protector. Blake's not your rim protector. You have a guy like Blake that's your rim protector, DeAndre. But if you take Blake Griffin out, if you just take Blake Griffin out, okay, they're 11-3 or whatever. You're not going to sit here and tell me the Clippers are better without Blake Griffin. I'm sorry, but it's not true.
It's just a fun
It's not
stat.
true.
Yeah,
Listen to this. Markieff Morris is putting up similar offensive stats.
And I don't hate that trade, but I would want a pick out of it too.
You could probably get
way more.
Yeah, Markieff Morris. You could probably get a second-round pick.
Second?
With Markieff, I think so. You're giving up Blake Griffin.
You can't get more. First round?
I don't think you get a first round and Markieff
Morris brothers ain't bad.
No.
They're not bad.
I don't know. Like I said, the NBA is not my.
they're
not my wheelhouse.
They're not Blake Griffin. No. Don't get me wrong, they're not Blake Griffin.
As much when it comes to the NBA, I stopped watching when Reggie Miller stopped playing, and I'm trying to get back into it, especially with this show we're starting.
You're a decade behind.
I'm a decade behind. But I have watched Blake Griffin since he was at Oklahoma State, and he is a stud. And I don't. Yeah. So it's interesting to think about, though.
Well, my point exactly. The Morris brothers aren't as good as Blake Griffin because, like we just said, you're going to be asking for a pick too. It's just what kind of pick you would get from them, along with one of those players, which I don't know if they can afford to do that. Give up a good player and a pick when you're not good, when you're struggling. Although the Pistons aren't bad this year, they're in the playoff race.
You get a team that's hungry like Phoenix Suns. They're going to look at Blake Griffin as their savior, guaranteed.
Franchise?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're going to say, "Wow, we finally have a chance at an All-Star." They haven't had an All-Star of that caliber since Steve Nash.
Well, also, is Blake going to be? I know he may not have a choice, but is
That's
he
my
going
guard of all time.
Is Blake going to be happy going from a place like LA? And he's at all these commercials. He's an LA type of guy. He's a Hollywood kind of guy, I think. Is he going to be happy going to Detroit?
Does LA
going
care?
to Phoenix?
LA doesn't care.
No, I obviously understand that. But if you're the other team, but if you're the Pistons, if you're Phoenix, you have this. Are you going to trade for this player? Give up your draft pick for somebody that you don't know if he wants to come there? I mean, obviously you would talk to him.
And
About, should I do this trade? Are you going to be happy when you come here?
And they're going to pay. They will pay for a guy like
We'll
that.
sign your checks.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Is he going to be happy
could
with a paycheck there? Or?
I mean, could they pay
afford it?
more than LA? Probably not. You think so?
I mean, they could definitely find a way to afford him.
Sure. There's always a way.
I'm not sure
Don't
how
Morris.
much the Morrises are getting paid. It's probably similar.
They're not all-stars.
No, but they're right under that.
Yeah,
they're pretty good.
I think they're B tier players.
Yeah, sure.
Not
bad players.
And they're younger. They're 25, 26 years old. Coming up right behind Blake Griffin in age.
I have a couple other teams
Yeah.
maybe throw out there. Blazers. Lost Aldridge last year to the Spurs.
What a trade there. Oh, my
Could,
gosh. The Spurs or something.
could use, and I mean, any team could really use Blake. But I think another maybe good fit, besides the Blazers, I was thinking maybe Bulls. Send Gasol that way. Because the Clippers are they're ready to win now. They have a very good team, they're ready to win now. So I don't think they'd be looking in the future with Gasol. I think they'd be looking as, he probably got, 4.
Yeah.
Do you think he regrets going to Chicago?
No.
Gasol?
I don't think so. That's a talented team he's with.
Lakers won 8 games, pretty sure. Pretty sure they only won 8 games this year. So I don't think he's stupid.
Well, he could have gone somewhere.
Yeah, you're right. But
the
I think
Bulls are good.
at the time, and they are good.
But they have to play the West in the finals.
Yeah.
That's the thing in the NBA.
Here's
We talked about that last week.
I like your Gasol trade idea. Something that
Someone pick, maybe.
yeah, Gasol.
There it goes.
Here's what could happen.
Don't get me started.
Not only would Gasol bring obvious talent, he brings a mature veteran presence to that position that I think LA's ready for.
With a complete opposite person than Blake Griffin.
Exactly. He's quiet. He doesn't take shit. He just goes. He goes to work. He punches in. He punches out. Tons of passion. And
he's still very skilled.
Both the Gasols, and he's very good. And I think that we've seen with all the racism stuff from the owner, and the Clippers have been through a lot in the last 2 years, and it's time a little bit mature.
They don't like Blake because he's light skinned.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you said the Spurs, and their maturity. Do you really think that they want this, though? I think he's going to be traded. I think in the next...
Who are you talking about now again?
Blake Griffin and the Clippers. I'm still on this thing where they don't want that. We talk about maturity. They don't want that on their team. I just don't. I don't think he sticks around. I don't think he sticks around.
Yeah.
I think it's going to come down to what they're going to... I don't think they're just going to top him up for a bunch of BS.
I agree, but I don't think they're going to cop him up for nothing. But,
yeah. I would shop him.
This is
see what I could get.
Yeah. I'm not saying dump him. By any means, don't dump him. Shop him. There's a big difference.
This isn't nothing, though. It went from a quad problem, which is common in the NBA, I assume, to a broken hand. I just think it's bigger than...
Now, let me ask you this. For the Clippers, would you take something more like C-plus player, something a little lower than the Morrises? Let's say...
Like a LaVoy Allen.
Somebody like that. I was trying to think of somebody from one of those teams. Karen now. Maybe a low-end player. A first and third round pick.
Yeah,
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That's future.
See, I think they would be more interested in that.
For like a number 7 guy on the bench kind of thing, or not?
Somebody might get somebody.
Get a strong point guard coming out of
Is
college.
it young? Is the C+ player young? Somebody to work on?
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
maybe, man, I was trying to think of somebody good. Robinson. Will Robinson. What's his name? Nate Robinson.
No, Nate
Maybe
Robinson.
Nate Robinson. A guy that could come in,
Okay.
maybe contribute a little bit. Play behind Chris Paul, Jamal Crawford. Not get too much playing time.
Yeah.
But you get a decent player in case somebody goes down. And can fill minutes. And then you get some high draft picks. 1 and 3, that's what I would be looking for if I was
In my opinion,
instead of taking Marcus and less picks. You know what I mean?
In my opinion, I think picks all day.
Mm.
Why not? I mean,
Look at Seattle.
you could just start over.
Seattle built those picks up, and they got these collective young guys together, and they grew together, and that defense grew like that. And now they had that defense and stuff. So.
You know, in the NFL?
I definitely believe in draft picks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Build your future.
I was talking
Yeah.
Seahawks.
I didn't know if
That's
we
like
were
an
going
example.
we were
Super
going
Sonics are back.
Super Sonics.
Peyton's still playing out of mine, right?
Yeah, okay.
I'd love to hear your take on it. Tweet at us what you think about the whole Blake Griffin thing.
That was a heated discussion.
Get on Twitter at the Late Hit 317. Hashtag the Late Hit. Hashtag the Late Hit Zone.
We respond to all tweets, all comments.
And Twitter is the best place to find us.
Yeah, we're all connected on
We're
Twitter.
very active on Twitter.
And I'm going to leave you with a stat of the day of my own regarding the NBA. Well, look at if you don't mind.
Yeah.
In fact, I might have told you already a couple days ago. Here we go. We talked about Steph Curry already being called the best point guard of all time. My stat of the day is going to take us back to the 1961-1962 season. Oscar Robertson averaged a triple-double the entire season.
There you go.
See you later.
Good stuff.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. We will be back next week with some more focused things to say and yell at each other. My blood pressure's up. Need a cup of Java. I'm going to call you mother. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
So
Hit
long.
subscribe.
Don't forget. Right.